Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Get Live with Dracena Wines. So today we're going to go a little science-y and I always love getting dorky and geeky about wine, but this is kind of a cool topic. It has actually been researched and women scientifically are better wine tasters than men. And that's, science proves that. Now, granted, there's some men out there that are going to taste better, to be better tasters than women, and some, that's always true with everything. There's always things outside of the norm. But it's like women have better balance than men are stronger than women, right? There's always the opposite. But science has proven that women are better wine tasters than men. So we're going to talk about the science about that in a minute. But before we get actually into the science, I want to talk about actually how we taste. So when somebody tastes, right, you smell it, you're going to look at it, you're going to taste it, and you're going to make these conclusions, okay? And that's the basic of it. And I always say, don't get so bogged down into the tasting notes. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And that's really all you need to know. But there's reasons why we do things, and there's reasons kind of why we use the glasses we use. So first of all, we want to have a nice clear glass. And the reason why we want to have a nice clear glass is so you can really see that color of the wine and it's not hindered in any way. If you're doing a blind tasting, you're actually going to use a black glass so that you can't even tell what color the wine is. Right? So after we look at the color, right, we're then going to, we all swirl it, and we swirl it to get that kind of micro-oxygenation. And then if you're looking at the color, you want to make sure that you're using it on a white background. Because if I hold my pretty glass up to a colored background, it's going to distort how I'm looking at that wine. Okay. Now here's the thing that not everybody does. When it comes time to smelling the wine, right, everybody just kind of like puts their nose in it. But kind of interesting thing is that each nostril actually can smell differently. And especially, there's a large portion of us who have deviated septums, right? So if you're smelling just like this, you're not really knowing what's going on. But the proper way to smell wine or liquor is actually you take it in and you put it into the one nostril, smell it, and then put it into the other nostril. And we want to inhale those aromas. And now we get into the taste, right? So we're going to sip it, and then we're going to swish it around our mouth. And yeah, I get it. It's kind of like, oh, let's make some noise and all of that stuff. Great. Okay, but there really is a reason why you swish it around. Again, you're adding that micro-oxygenation into the wine on your palate, and you're making sure that you get it all over. So you can taste it on your tongue, where, on your taste buds. You can taste it on your gums, right? That's where those tannins are. But now here's the cool part, the science. Okay? So this is how you taste. In all reality, when you are tasting, you are really tasting through your nose. You're not really tasting, you're really kind of smelling that taste, right? So those aromas come in, and we have two different ways of getting these aromas, right? So through our nose, okay, we can smell it. That is the orthonasal olfaction. So I'm literally just smelling it. Orthonasal goes in, goes up to your brain, those neurons go firing off to tell you what it is. And the cool thing is, and one of the reasons why I never say why, what somebody drinks, is because how I interpret a fruit is very different than how your brain interprets a fruit. So if we're looking at the color of this shirt, we may both agree that it's blue, but how my brain sees this blue is very different than how your brain sees this blue. So how you taste is very independent of how anybody else can taste, okay? Then when it's actually time for us to get that sip of that wine, that is actually going to be a retronasal olfaction. So what's happening there is when you're putting it into your mouth, instead of going up through your nostrils here, there's cavities back there, right in the back, and it goes up into that retronasal olfactory, and it goes to your brain, and it basically is doing the same exact thing. So you're tasting, yes, there's taste buds on your tongue, but it all actually is really going through the nasal cavity to make sure what you are tasting. Okay, so we have orthonasal olfaction and then retronasal olfaction. Okay, so we're really smelling the flavors, we're not tasting them. Now, to get to what the real science is, okay, here we go. Women are statistically better tasters than men, right? So why is that? So it's all because of how our nasal cavities are designed. Okay, women have 49% more neurons in their olfactory area, which is olfactory bulb, olfactory nerve, olfactory cortex, and the cribriform plate. We have more neurons that are firing into those areas. So because there's more neurons, we can react better. You can think about a neuron as something as you're touching a hot stove and ooh, you pull that hand away because the neurons fired from the heat of the fire to your hand felt it, and those neurons got shot up to your brain, and your brain said, whoa, hot, move away. Okay? How quickly that occurs. Well, the same thing with how we taste, okay? So the more neurons there are, the faster that signal is going to get to your brain and react, or the more you can know what you're tasting, right? So females have 49% more neurons in their olfactory section, and just they have a significantly more amount of actual cells in their, that are designated to be olfactory, right? So we have skin cells, we have heart cells, we have eye cells, hair cells, all of that stuff. Women have significantly more cells dedicated to the olfactory ability in their body. So women scientifically are better tasters than men, okay? So any human being, on average, it is thought to have about 10,000 odors that we can diagnose, that we can actually figure out. So 10,000 odors, that sounds amazing. There is some scientific debate that it is more than that, okay, but that's where the science is at the moment. So you think that sounds so amazing. We can smell 10,000 different things. That is in relation to a dog that can smell 300 million different odors. So you wonder why their nose is always down to the ground? That's why, right? They can distinguish between 300 million different odors, where we humans can distinguish between 10,000 different odors, right? Oof, right? That is incredible. So you're always like, that's why dogs lead with their nose. I'll think about all that sensory that is coming in, right? So historically, the thought process of why women have 49% higher ability to smell odors is really thought to go way, way back in history as a reproductive behavior. So men, I know you want to think you're in charge, but it is always the female that can declare that mating ritual. Think about cardinals, right? Cardinals, the male cardinal is bright, so you can say, yeah, look at me, right? But the female cardinal isn't as bright, but she's the one picking. Peacocks, the male peacocks have all of those beautiful feathers to demonstrate how worthy they are of the female, right? So females, we've got to make sure that men are worthy of us. So that's really where it goes back to the history, is that it was a reproductive behavior, and it is thought that the females have more olfactory ability so that they can literally sniff out if it is a good mate for them. And then once they have mated, the olfactory abilities are so that they can find their kin recognition, so that this is my child, this is my offspring versus all of the other offspring, right? So and it just goes back to, dogs know their own puppies, right? So it goes back to that. So it dates way, way back to, prehistoric times, why women have better olfactory. And today, that correlates to being scientifically better wine tasters. So I hope that gives you a little bit of science and a little bit of fun. And if you have any questions about the science of tasting and why women are better at it, please leave a comment down below, and I will be happy to answer those questions for you. And if there's anything, any wine concept that you would like me to start talking about on Live with Dracena, please again leave a nice little comment. And if you liked what I said, please hit that nice little that little heart to let me know you liked it. And I'll be back next week with more Live with Dracena Wines with a brand new topic. So thanks for joining. Sláinte!